Okay, so to create these kinds of little legs and arms, we create kind of miniature cylinders. And I'll show you how to make the leg, and then I'll just explain the difference in the arm. You start out with a slip stitch for both of them, chain 2, stitch 5 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. So okay, so we have 5 stitches into our second chain. I've pulled the short tail tightly so that it's closed the opening. If I were going to make the arm, I would simply start crocheting a single crochet in each of these stitches all the way around, and that would begin building the little cylinder up, which is how the arm is. And you can either count the rows, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can just kind of eyeball it. So as you're crocheting, just keep comparing it to the limb that you are matching on the other side. For the leg, if you notice, it kind of comes out a little bit and then tapers in. So what we're going to do to create that slight little extension and then taper is actually add, rather than increases in every single stitch, we're going to add 3 increases. So I'm going to, this is the meeting, the first stitch in our round. You can tell because it has this little loop that goes kind of vertically at its base. So that first stitch in this round is always a little bit tight. So I'm inserting the hook through both of these loops, and sometimes it's easier to do it one at a time. Okay, so that's through the first loop, and that is the second one. Okay, so I'm going to do a single crochet in that stitch, and then I'm going to do an increase in this stitch. And remember, an increase is just 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So that's my first increase. Another single crochet. If you lose track of where you are, just pull the fabric apart and see that that stitch goes into this single crochet. So the next stitch is this one. I'm going to do an increase in this one. I'll do a single crochet in the second one, and an increase in the next one. Okay, so that's our increases. Now I'm going to kind of turn this direction so the right side is showing. Now I'm going to simply start single crocheting in each stitch around, and I can either just kind of compare it visually, or I can count these stitches. Okay, so I have the first round, and then I have the round that had some increases, And now we'll see I have 1, 2 rounds that are just straight single crochet. This round, as you can see, starts decreasing. So after 2 rounds of single crochet, I'm going to decrease, and you can see the decrease by these stitches, or these loops and these loops kind of coming together. So that shows that these stitches were pulled into a single stitch. And so this is the decrease row, and then I have 2 more rows of just single crochet. So I'll go around single crochet 2 rows. Okay, so now I'm going to start my decreases. And since I increased it by 3, I had 3 increased stitches in that second round, I'm going to decrease it 3 times. Or I should say, have 3 decreases. So the first one I'll do right here. That's my first decrease. Do a single crochet in the next stitch, then do another decrease. Okay, and now I'll do 2 more rows of single crochet, and they'll go really fast because I don't have very many stitches here. Now I want to show you when you are crocheting something this small and that has that small of an opening. Oh, by the way, sometimes it's actually easier to stuff this at this point before it gets any taller. And then sometimes actually adding the stuffing can help open that up. But if you hold it like so, you can get through 1 stitch. Separate it out. You can even kind of pull it so that the front of the fabric is kind of sticking up a little bit, like I'm actually kind of rolling this far side down a little bit, and that can also make it a little bit easier. You want to be sure that you're not going through both sides, because that'll cause a lot of confusion and difficulty. I mean, unless you want to crochet the 2 sides together at the end, but until you reach the end, you want to be sure that you're only going through 1 layer of fabric, and you don't want to end up skipping stitches, which is also easy to do. Okay, so there I have that little leg. I'll compare it to this one. I think I actually need to take out a little bit of that polyfill. So then to finish this off, I will insert the hook through that stitch, pull it through again. That's a slip stitch. Then yarn over, pull it through again, make a chain, make a large loop, cut it at the end, and then the tail that's attached to the skein of yarn, pull through, left with this little tail, and cinch it down nice and tight. Now notice that I've kept a small, a longish tail. I'm going to use that to stitch this little leg on.